Fullback for Bradford. Vicona, Naylor, Price, Vainicolo, the three-quarter line. Robbie Paul back after injury to partner Paul Deacon. The forwards, Vangenaar, Lowes and Fielden, Gartner, Peacock and Mike Forshaw. And the substitutes, McAvoy, Gilmore, McDermott and Richard Moore is back from injury for the reigning coach of the month, Brian Noble. Now the Saints, Wellens at fullback. Hoppy, Gleeson, Newlove and Darren Albert. There's no Anthony Stewart there. He is the only absentee for Saints. Paul Sculthorpe moves to stand off alongside Sean Long. And the forwards, Britt, Cunningham, Nicol gets a start. Joint in the second row with Stankovic. And Shields moves to loose forward to cover for Paul Sculthorpe, who's moved forward. And on the bench for them, Ward, Hyam, Martin now, and Bennett, the coach, Ian Millward. Well, Brian Noble's men...
I think they will just absolutely throw everything in the kitchen sink in the opening 10-15. If they can get a roll on in their home ground, it is very difficult to peg them back. St Helens, can they absorb the opening 15?
Well, they have to absorb the pressure from the kickoff. Deacon's high kick, and underneath it is St Helens fullback Paul Wellens. He tips it inside to Darren Britt, and there's the first confrontation of this match, and look at it. He got the ball away to Wellens, but Wellens was tackled by Danny Gartner. Well, that has set the tone.
Wonderful play by the prop forward, Darren Britt. He knew that he was going over the in-goal area. Oh, Cunningham made a good run in the blind.
Yes, but he's bundled into touch by Nicolo and Fielden. It will be head and feed at the scrum to the Bradford Bulls.
Well, he can cut it with a knife here, the atmosphere, and that is great defence. Vainicolo, well, a lot of people felt that was lucky to be selected in the starting lineup. A bit of a iffy game last weekend, came up with a few errors, but obviously Brian Noble feels that he's confident he can shake it off and get back to the top form.
Michael Withers with the first charge, Bulls with the ball in hand for the first time. It's their first set of 6. It's with Robbie Paul. He was missed there, but he wasn't missed by the next man in, Peter Shields. It's now with James Lowes. Lowes attracting the defence to him, and Newlove, Joint and Wellens combined to bring him down. To Vita Vicona then, to Robbie Paul. Infield it comes to Deacon. Deacon looks for the runner, it was Fielden. Good tackle by Gleeson. Naylor in dummy half to Deacon. A dab for the winger to chase. Albert gets to it. Oh dear!
Oh, dearie me. He knew he was going to be collected, and he just launched himself right across the knees. Oh, this is dangerous. Not only the kick, but look at that. St Helens fans aren't too happy with the way that he was pushed there. It was Leon Price that got the winger, and he's getting the bird from the Saints fans. Well, it's pretty hard when your adrenaline is pumping through the body. The neat little kick. Let's hope that he's okay.
Well, he looks okay. Just taken a sip of the water, and he's in the line here that chases this dropout from underneath the posts. I'm reminded that Simon Horton picked up a very bad injury here on his last Wigan appearance, and he crashed into the advertising hoardings. That's the problem with this ground. The advertising hoardings for a high-speed collision sport like this, very, very tight to the touchlines.
I have to agree. Let's hope they can do something about it. All right. They know that they're going back to Oxford, and that'll be a great fillip, you know, for the players as well as the fans. But as I thought so, Bradford, they are throwing everything at them, running the angles and quick play the balls.
It's with Jimmy Lowes, and he moves it wide to find Deacon. Robbie Paul hits that, and then he gets it away to Jamie Peacock. Peacock surrounded by Joint and Sculthorpe, and the referee says the tackle is completed with Peacock standing up. So he plays it to Robbie Paul. It goes back to Deacon, and Deacon will hoist the kick out wide, looking for Leon Price again. He's claimed by Sean Long. Vainicolo does well. He turns the ball inside, but Gleeson is able to drop on it, and he thought a tackle was coming in. Eventually gets to his feet and takes the tackle from Gartner.
Quick thinking by Martin Gleeson there. Not only did he drop on the ball, he realised that the referee may have got him for a voluntary tackle, so therefore he shimmied up onto his knees and made sure he made contact. Oh, it's all happening.
Sonny Nicol plays the ball. This is the way it looks over the years since 1973. And at Bradford, it has generally gone the Bulls' way. And in Super League, Well, nothing much to choose, is there? They won twice at Knowsley Road in Super League, 1997 and 2000, but they've won all 8 home meetings, plus the 1999 playoff clash at Odsal against the Saints have the Bulls, who are in possession now with Leslie Vinacolo. Good chase by Gleeson and Darren Albert. Good to see that Albert's all right.
Yeah, good kick, good chase, but once again, the coach, Ian Millward, and Brian Noble know that the tactic's not working out as they wanted it, and that's a silly mistake. Bit of a flop there by Peter Shields.
Hand in on the ball as well, I think, to just delay the play the ball. Robert Connolly was pretty hot on that last time we saw him.
Well, I'm just trying to make the point that Ian Millward obviously realises, like a lot of other coaches do, that Taviti Vinacolo can be a bit dodgy when the ball's on the ground, and it's not surprising that they'll feed him. They will kick right into his wing all throughout this night.
Blows the dummy half, and Fielden now to drive it in. Good standing challenge by Nicol, but he offloads. And here come the Bulls with Gartner. He's escaped Gleeson. He can't get away from Cunningham and Long.
That should be a penalty. Gartner wanted to get on with it. Sean Long was all over him.
Deacon, flying tackle by Sonny Nicol. Lowe's, quick play the balls are the order of the day for the Bulls so far. Fielden. And again, Peter Shields could have been, Darren Britt rather could have been penalised for that. This is Deacon who will dab it in, looking for the runner. It went backwards, but he's got no chance, has he, Newlove? Well, he tried to get out of the in-goal area, but he was trapped. It's another dropout coming up for the Saints.
Not a bad effort, though. Look, for all the world, he made a little bit of a mistake there. A lot of people would have said, let's get out of here and just knock it over the dead in-goal area. But great scrambling defence. Not allowing this man all the way through. Well, we anticipated that Bradford would try everything, and they have. They've run the angles, quick play the balls, and they've also been utilising the fact that the kick into the corner and the short one from the halfback Paul Deacon.
Good drop out, bounced over the top of Van Ganar. He will run it back now. The second goal line drop out for the Saints. And I'll tell you something, with the temperatures still in the high 20s here this evening, we'll be seeing plenty of water carried onto the field for these athletes, because they will lose pounds tonight. Such will be the effort they put in. This is Fielden. Gets to his feet, Lowe's. Went to go one way, went the other, found Peacock. Britt with the tackle, Sculthorpe round the shoulders, no chance of the offload. Lowe's again. Robbie Paul. Back it goes to Deacon. Deacon then showed it to Forshaw, jinked away from one, couldn't get away from Martin Gleeson.
Again, Sean Long over the top, running a tightrope for the referee, Robert Connolly.
High kick from Robbie Paul.
Oh, it was taken out. Vicona was taken out there.
And the referee agrees.
Well, you can shepherd the man you want to catch the ball, but you can't move into him like this. Oh, that was very silly play by Paul Newlove.
You even looked at the guy.
Look at that. You've got to even go in front. You can put yourself in front of the on-rushing players, but you can't just pick him out like a coconut shy and just knock him off.
So Brian Noble has he sent the message down to run this ball. He looked a little frustrated then, but Robbie Paul, the captain, decided that Paul Deacon should have a shot at goal, and well, why not? Because he's the leading goal kicker in the Super League, and the first couple of points on the board will be so important.
I must say that was good play by Brian Noble. Lifted up his arms and said, listen, you're the captain, I'll leave it up to you. Always nice to give your captain a bit of confidence too. Such an important factor, of course, the man who leads the side.
So Paul Deacon with this opportunity for the first points of the night, and he's successful. So the Bradford Bulls have an early lead, 2-0, courtesy of the boot of Paul Deacon.
Well, I don't think there'll be any concern to Ian Millward. Obviously Brian Noble will be happy, but Ian Millward will be quite pleased with the fact that it's been Bradford that have all the possession so far, and they have yet to be breached. They've gone pretty close of the Bulls on a few occasions, but it was a nice kick from this fella.
And Bradford might well remember that last year in this corresponding fixture late in the season. The Bradford Bulls won with a string of penalties, converted that night by Henry Paul, no longer here of course. Maybe that's why they took the gamble on the 2 points that came off. This is Viacona, what a run, what a pass, and again to Naylor, and Bradford are in! Bradford are in behind the posts. Fantastic effort from Bradford. And Naylor with the try. Well, the Saints had no answer to that. It was a wonderful run down the touchline by Viacona, carried on, and then 2 perfect passes, and Naylor was in.
This is why a lot of people feel that Tavita Viacona is well and truly in the running for the Man of Steel this year. Look at that. That is sheer strength. Wonderful play there. The fullback Withers onto the centre, Naylor. Albert tried desperately, but look at this. From defence into attack, and once Hoppy had made the miss, the sheer strength and the wonderful offload by the fullback. He may not be the fastest man in Super League, this fella, but he knew he was always going to get there. Full credit to Albert. He had a go at him, and boy oh boy, Scott Naylor just loves scoring tries.
He does, and he's in a rich vein of form. And Deacon adds the extras from 0-0 a couple of minutes ago. It's now Bradford 8, St Helens 0. And Scott Naylor, who has started the last 12 and has got tries in 6 of them, 4 tries in his last 5 appearances before tonight, he has come up with the goods again. Great effort.
Well, the great Jack Gibson, one of the greatest coaches in the history of rugby league down in Australia. He always used to say that a side is always vulnerable when they feel that you've got the opposition in your own quarter, and that is exactly what they've done. They turn defence. It's all the Bulls.
It is.
Well, I said that Ian Millwood would be happy with the 2 points, but he'll be very disappointed that Hoppy fell off Viacona when it was 1-on-1.
Some tremendous movement from Bradford off the ball here. They're all wanting it. They're all moving into position to receive the football, as Gartner did then.
Well, Gartner wanted to make sure he was looking for the second phase. It was non-forthcoming.
Deacon skips around Shields. That's charged down by Joint.
Oh, it's a knock-on.
And now it's a knock-on. Not the charge down, but the fumble.
Well, I'm just about to say that this halfback, Paul Deacon, he's just running the show. It was good effort in the main from Joint, and then he came up with a mistake.
That's not the knock-on. That is.
Yep.
So head and feet to the Bulls.
They must be thinking, when are we going to get this ball? Saints have seen very little of it. And I think the longest period of time that they've had has been the period when the 2 points were scored and then the extra 6 walking back to kick off.
From the base of the scrum, Forshaw feeds his captain Robbie Paul, who gives it to Leon Price. Darren Albert hangs on to him and Sculthorpe finishes him off. Robbie Paul again at dummy half. Forshaw once more. Good tackling by Sculthorpe again. Lowe's. Deacon showed it to Van Ganaar and gave it instead to Stuart Fielder. That's a defence here from St Helens. Van Ganaar again. Oh! Lost the ball in the collision with Chris Joint. And here comes St Helens now with Cunningham. Gives it width to Stankovic. He finds Sean Long. On it goes to Gleeson, but nowhere for Gleeson to get through.
Good work there from Chris Joint. He went man-on-man and the impact on the big prop forward, Joe Van Ganaar. Now it's important now that Saints just get a feel of this football and make sure that the kick and chase is good. And I'm just wondering when Millwood will bring Tommy Martin on for those 40-20s. They need possession, vital. They need 1 and 2 sets of 6 in concession.
This is Cunningham, now it's with Long. Ooh, he nearly dropped the shoulder and got through them then. It's now with Peter Shields. Offloads, Nickel, and it went backwards off Long as well. Wellens picks up the pieces.
A little bit nervous, St Helens, trying to force the pass. It's just that atmosphere that's getting to all the players.
Long will hoist the kick out wide. This is for Albert. Vinacolo's been vulnerable this year. Vulnerable again. Brilliant! What a pick up by Albert, and what a try for Gleeson. Well, Vainicolo's the weak link up in the air. There is no doubt about that. Albert just plucked that ball out of the sky, and Gleeson was available, and Gleeson scored.
Well, we said that quite a few of these coaches realise that if there is a problem with the big fella Vainicolo, it is when the ball is getting near to him, be on the ground or up in the air. Susceptible. We said he was going to get plenty of work, but he needed to work a bit harder than that. Albert plucks it. Gleeson scores it. Saints are back in it.
Very much so. An important score for St Helens, that. Gleeson in fantastic form as well. Substitute against Wakefield last week when he also scored a try. Cronulla was sniffing him, and he signed a new contract. He'll stay at St Helens for 4 or 5 more years. Paul Sculthorpe, bang in front. Doesn't miss those.
And obviously he wasn't far off.
8-6.
Seemed to take the paint of the crossbar. Well, a little bit more relieved looking from Ian Millward, thanks to this fella. But Darren Albert, what a take. Sean Long with the high one. And he was not happy, was he? He went early and he was on the downward slide when Albert was going up, and it allowed this fella. What a season from Martin Gleeson. What a find.
Well, I'll tell you something, Steve-O, that kick out wide to Vainicolo's wing, that has been practiced and practiced on the training field this week for Saints.
Well, of course they have, and as I mentioned before, Eddie, that a lot of people were surprised that Vainicolo actually kept his position. He came up with a few errors a week before. The truth is, he's dodgy when the ball's coming to him.
Devastating with ball in hand, though, Leslie Vainicolo. Saints with ball in hand just now. Peter Shields, good offload. Sculthorpe to run it at them, trying to go round Mike Forshaw.
Well, completely against the run of play, but the first real opportunity. Oh,
Cunningham!
Fella's away!
Cunningham! He had Darren Albert, the tackle's not completed. He had Darren Albert steaming up down the right wing. Didn't see him.
Good job that Withers got to an ankle. Oh, it's a big gamble.
It's come off for them. Long couldn't get to that. Oh, that's a brilliant offload from Joint. Here goes Sonny Nicol. There's the support from Wellens. He dumps it back to Shields. Oh, ball to ground. Play on. New Love will score. Referee will give this to the video referee.
Bradford players are claiming that the referee touched that football.
He's going to give it to the video referee.
I think that he may have got a hand to this. Whether he's going to allow play on, but I'm sure the ball hit the referee. Oh, this is a big one for the video. It was going all over the place, and when the ball went back on the inside, I just got an idea that it hit him. I may be wrong.
Well, there was also the hint of a knock-on as well. That's what he's looking for.
Well, the ball's back there.
Nothing wrong with that.
This is the one.
No, it doesn't touch him.
No.
Nothing wrong in that either. He didn't touch
No,
it.
this will be try time.
And Newlove picked it up and swoops in.
But what a build-up to it. It deserved the 4 points, and surely this will be converted to 6. No doubt in my mind, and I'm sure the video referee, for once, will agree.
Paul Newlove left for St Helens in a record transfer deal in 1995, and he's just got a priceless 4 points. That's 336 tries now in Paul Newlove's glittering career.
Well, they just took their luck, didn't they? 2 awful passes, but this one was, watch this from Joint, flicked out with the right hand. Oh, this is great support. Not the best pass again. 3 bad passes, and what happens? You come up with a try. As long as they go backwards, they're A-OK, and so is this.
The kick from Sculthorpe, 8-0. They were down not long ago. It's 12-8 to St Helens, and I have a sneaky feeling we are going to watch a classic tonight.
Oh, little doubt in that. They chance their arm, don't they? This is what has made them so famous over the past 7 years. That ability to play outstanding rugby league football. I often say that a team's only as good as support, and the support was tremendous there. It went through 6 pairs of hands before the try was scored. Can't ask for much better than that.
Well, he has a wonderful strike rate, does Paul Newlove. And when he was here, 66 tries in 70 appearances for Bradford. 1993, 1994, Leeds lead Hull, Wigan and London all level after 10 minutes. Top 6 all in action.
Well, I'm just making that point, Eddie, before we kicked off, is that St. Helens perhaps would once again absorb all the pressure in the opening 15. They did that. All right, they conceded 8 points and they've come up with a mistake now. But boy, oh boy, they know how to hit back. Really should have gone to Chris Joynt. He thought it was going across his body. And Sean Hoppy comes up with the knock-on. Well, it's amazing. They're leading by 4 points and they are not really playing well, but they have taken their chances.
You can never fault them for that. Here's Leon Price trying to go inside long, and with Gleeson they pull him down. Robbie Paul was shown long standing square then. The referee obviously thinks he was. Tackler's allowed to stand. Price. Here is Gartner. St. Helens moving off the defensive line quickly, getting in the face of Bradford, which you have to do here. Deacon. Michael Withers. Good tackling again. Robbie Paul. Down the short side they go with Peacock. Dabs it in. Sean Hoppy is the man, and Hoppy will be dragged back over his own line.
Wonderful defence.
Terrific power from Bradford.
You talk about applying the pressure. Unusual to see the big second rower, Jamie Peacock, putting boot to ball, but it's effective. And this is why it's effective. Naylor, scorer of the first try, perhaps. A lot of people think that he's not as good as he was in the attacking mode. But I tell you what, Eddie, when it comes to defence, there's none better than Scott Naylor. He's a tough cookie to get past.
Third goal line dropout from St. Helens. This is Joe Vanganar. He hasn't missed a game in 12 months, the big New Zealand prop forward. Fielden. Good tackle, Nicol. Oh, I think Nicol's been hard done by there.
Well, Fielden had to get on with it. Nicol has to move away, and I think he just hesitated a bit. Yeah, he did. I know it's pretty awkward. Good hit.
Fielden did very well.
Yeah, but he was still hanging on to him, and then he tried to release with the left. And not surprisingly, he's done his hard work in the opening 20. He goes to the bench.
Yes, he goes to the bench, Sonny Nicol, and he will be replaced by Tommy Martin, is it?
Well, it looks it. I mentioned that we should be getting Tommy Martin on for those 40-20s, Eddie.
Well, that means I think that Shields will revert to front row where he was named this morning. Sculthorpe will go to loose forward and Tommy will go to stand-off half. And the penalty from Deacon decreases the lead to 2.
Oh, rub your hands and clap your hands. As Eddie mentioned, this could turn out to be one of the classics of all time. Both sides eager, not only to have big hits, but to keep this ball alive. Right? Nobody knew that he was going to be a toughie. He knows the quality of St. Helens.
We were all disappointed, weren't we, in April, when the game didn't live up to the pre-match hype. But 22 minutes of this one, and this most certainly is.
And not only that, Eddie, I'm glad that they have buried their hatchets, because there's been a lot of St. Helens fans come over the Pennines for this, and fair credit to them.
Well, Jimmy Lowes was about to take, well, in fact, did take a very quick penalty there, but the referee, he wants a word with both captains, because he's penalised each side here throughout the opening 22 and a half minutes. And he wants a word with the 2 skippers.
You're not getting the message, Chris. When he got up then, he pulled his leg as he was getting up, Darren. We've got to let go. Once the guy's commencing, get the message. Penalty. All your lads on your last warning.
Well, they're on the last warning, so the next one is in the sin bin.
Yeah, you can see the right arm, Dermot's right leg.
I'm sure he said captains plural. I'm sure he asked for Robbie Paul as well, but he obviously didn't need to speak to Robbie Paul. So here come the balls with Stuart Fielden.
In such a tight game, discipline is going to count.
Brian McDermott.
Defense.
Big hit by Stankovic.
What a hit too.
Lowe's. Robbie Paul, great run. Tried to nip through, but Darren Brick stood his ground. Mike Forshaw, the dummy half. Here's Jamie Peacock, another of the unsung heroes of this Bradford side. Peacock. 10 metres away, he's grounded.
Just push Newlove off with ease. Oof. Oh, they're making good ground.
This is the last tackle though, as Fielden gets to his feet, plays it to Lowe's, it goes back to Robbie Paul. They look for width here. Now they'll go for the dab through. Darren Albert, he's in goal, and he's done well to get back into the field of play.
That was brave.
It was brave
indeed.
What a fantastic start to this match, Phil Clark.
Yeah, I think the bravery that Darren Albert showed there just typified the Saints' performance. They really have been under the rack since Bradford started so well. I mean, just let's sheer look at the 3 goal line dropouts of the 20 minutes that St Helens have had to do, just shown how tough they are. Now, all coaches and players in sport want to try and breed mental toughness. Saints have done that, and they've also shown a willingness to any opportunity to get the points on the board. But very, very impressive performance from Bradford. You know, sometimes kicking off in a big game can be an advantage. It means you've got first chance to bash your opponents in defence, and that's exactly what Bradford did.
Helens trying to capitalise here on their first penalty. That's why the referee Robert Connolly didn't need to talk to Robbie Paul.
And what a great pass from Peter Shields. He had 3 around him, then popped it away. That always puts pressure on the defence when you can suck so many would-be tacklers in like that.
Sean Long to his captain Chris Joynt. Who will ever forget the try that Chris Joynt scored in that playoff match at Nosey Road against the Bradford Bulls? That was a fantastic night, and this has got all the hallmarks in the opening 25 of being equally as good.
How can we ever forget, Neddy? You keep reminding us.
Martin with a kick to the in goal, and it just bounces, and Withers allows it to run down.
Well, that's the reason why Millwood has brought him from the bench. Just mix and match with the kicking game, but watch for the 40-20. It is a very short ground here, very tight and compact.
Tavita Vicona. Oh, Leeds are walking away with it against Hull after 25 minutes. 22-0. It stays 6 apiece at the JJB. Wigan over London. What a start for Leeds. What a start to this match here. Robbie Paul enveloped by 2.
Bradford now finding it a little bit more difficult to get through that first line of defence, and that's where Deacon's got to perhaps, and Robbie Paul, come into the fray. Maybe a little chip over the top, or just a grubber through.
Well, there's a high hanging kick, and this is a tester for Albert, and Leslie Vinacola was after him, and he was tackled in the air, Darren Albert. That's not allowed.
But what a great take. This is the same guy that rattled both the kneecaps on the hoardings. What a great effort. Not only did he take it, he planted the feet, and watch how the legs just push him back into the field of play.
What a servant Darren Albert has been for Ian Millwood this year. He hasn't missed a match, you know, the only ever present in the St Helens side. And when he first came over here, apparently a lot of people said that Darren Albert wouldn't make it in the Super League. Boy, he's made them eat their words. Saints in possession then. Long's the dummy half. Chris Joynt. They know how dangerous Chris Joynt is with the offloads, as well as those strong runs down that left channel. This is Peter Shields now. Cunningham. Long again. Sculthorpe. Stankovic wanted it. Sculthorpe takes the tackle. That's the last. Cunningham to Stankovic. Stankovic running it on the lash. There's the kick to the corner. Vinacola, no danger for him there. Just allowed the ball to run over the dead ball line. Stankovic isn't the kicker though. He got in the position though.
I think he'll get a little bit of a word in the ear from Ian Millwood. That's the second occasion. But it amazes me, you know, for such a tall second rower, Stankovic's got an amazing step on it. That was a wonderful charge through.
Lowe's at dummy half. Britt makes the tackle. McDermott. Robbie Paul, wide it goes Naylor, space here for Naylor to exploit. New Love with the tackle, finished him off anyway. Fielden drives it in again.
Silcon pleading with this little short ball across the face of the attacking range. I just get the impression that maybe the Bulls would be better served. Well, they went for the power play. Perhaps Fielden didn't realise that, but I'm just thinking that the Bulls would be better served to stand a little bit further back, because the Saints' defence is getting right into their faces.
Well, every one of the Bradford players then was stood in front of the referee. They're all offside.
Well, the referee, Robert Connolly, was giving the penalty, but I can assure you Fielden went with a big haymaker. Watch this. Whoa! And missed him, and in his own play. I think it was Forshaw that caught him. He could have been in a lot of trouble if that had been another inch lower.
Stuart Fielden already looking forward to the rematch with Barry McDermott at Headingley in about 2 weeks' time. And that will be worth the admission money alone. Cunningham! Cunningham scores! He pitched one then from dummy half as Bradford were dozing. And that's why he's so dangerous. Blood pumping down from a cut on the cheek. But he's still out there, and he scored an absolutely priceless try and a wonderful individual effort.
And he can put this down to Stankovic. Watch him how quickly he plays this football. They get to him. 3 get to him. Back. He's up. There's 3 Bradford players still on their knees. Cunningham says, I'll be taking 4, my mateys. What a great effort from the big fella here. Look at this. Back. Play the ball. They're still on the ground. See how wide time. Didn't he enjoy that?
What a great Kieran Cunningham try. He remembers the last time that St Helens beat Bradford away from home. That 32-18 win in Odsal in 1995. Are St Helens going to claim their first ever win in the summer era in the city of Bradford? It is something that has eaten away at them and has niggled away at their coach Ian Millwood, that this is one ground on which he has never won. Well, I wonder if tonight's the night. John Sharp alongside him with the headphones on, his assistant. And Sculthorpe here with a chance to increase the lead. 16-10 now, kick to come. And it's just drifted away the wrong side of the posts. So the gap is a converted try, that's all.
Well, who said 4 into 3 won't go? It certainly does on this occasion. 3 Bradford players still in their knees. Cunningham knew he was over. As soon as he picked that football up, he knew that they were all at sea. And he's complaining. He knows that the blood is going to be coming out. It'll be a problem throughout this game now because of the blood being ruling. And they'll be trying to get Vaseline applied to that very quickly.
Well, he grabbed 22 tries last year. He's not been as prolific in 2002. But boy, that was straight out of the Cunningham manual. That ball went backwards. Play on is the call from the referee.
Well, they're taking all the risks in the book, aren't they?
Wellens and Fielden.
He got a little bit of a forearm across his chops. Well, talk about working overtime. This second row of Stankovic is certainly doing that.
Cunningham a bullet pass to Shields. Shields tackle low down by McDermott, finished off by Lowe's. Here comes St Helens now. They're at the pace of this contest. Right now, they were 8-0 down not long ago. They lead 16-10, as you can see. Long stabs the ball towards the post. It was difficult for Withers. He did well.
Good high there from Shields. Good work though by the halfback Sean Long. They are now applying the pressure just as Bradford did in the opening 15. This is going to be a rough, tough one. It looked as though the Bulls were going to roll and roll and roll, but full credit to Saints, they dug deep. Oh, Cumberland throw. It's a dubious one, that, Eddie. I wish they'd just throw it out of the rule book.
Jimmy Lowe's has gone for a 40-20 here, and the ball has skipped towards the sideline, but it's able to be collected by Hoppy. Yes, it sometimes can be misinterpreted as a trip, that.
Well, they took it out of the Australian game because Alfie Langer was utilising it so often that it was just a borderline, and there were a lot of players getting injured. As soon as we scrapped that, the better.
Tommy Martin wouldn't agree. Long! Tackled by Richard Moore, just on as you saw Ford Stewart fielded. Cunningham. Oh, great pass to Shields.
Now they're getting over the advantage line. Little doubt in my mind, Brian Noble has thrown on Richard Moore to just strengthen this defence. It's falling apart at the moment.
Cunningham on the last will run it. Now he'll flick it to Sean Long, who'll hoist the kick out wide. Here's an invitation for Hoppy over Vicona. Oh, and it was actually dropping straight into the arms of Chris Joynt, was it? Or was it Newland? Who was it? Who's flattened his back? It was Chris Joynt.
Good job that Scott Naylor was hanging around there as well. No advantage. That's back, and that's play on. He'll go to the screen if they score, though.
Hoppy just held up somehow, and the referee has had a nod from his touch judge. Penalty Bradford, you heard it from the touch judge's lips. The St Helens man knocked it forward. That's what he said.
Yeah, but did Vicona get a touch to this? Certainly Martin got to it, but did I thought Vicona brought it back into play. But they would have put the scrum down because there was no advantage there to the Bulls.
What a match, Phil. It's one of the best of the year.
Certainly is. In games of this quality, you really need to take your chances when they present themselves and ride your luck. At the moment, Saints with the tails up really will want to get another try just before half-time. They're looking so quick, and Cunningham from the active half-back position, so dangerous. I'm sure the message will go to his side. They have to work so quicker at marker to get up and be ready and set for when Cunningham goes to run.
Tale of two matches elsewhere, isn't it? 26-0 leads, 8-6 Wigan over London, and Hull having a nightmare at Headingley. In touch. Vicona's in touch. Withers can't believe it. Touch judge's flag was up.
Vicona can't either. Let's see. Oh, it's a...
Tell you what.
It's a touchy one, this.
This will tell us.
The foot goes over the line, but does it hit the line? The ball's away before the foot's down.
That was in the blinking of an eye, though, and the touch judge took the decision. That's it.
You won't be saying a blink in the eye if St Helens go up the field and score. That should have been play on, and Withers was on his way to the try line.
Saints have the possession from that scrum. Sculthorpe to Long. Long then to Wellens. Grabbed by Richard Moore, the 20-year-old. He's been out for the last three with a toe injury. Here's Sculthorpe. The handling is fantastic from these two sides. Another big hit by Moore on Stankovic. A fumble there and play on. Wellens picks up the pieces for Saints.
Well, they've come up with so many mistakes and errors, St Helens, but every single one that they've gone, apart from the knock-on there from Martin just a few moments ago, has gone their way.
Last tackle here for St Helens. Here's Long, the kick surely, and there it is. Bradford Hearts miss a beat. Vainicolo's after it. He's messed it again. Shields. Oh, he had 6 to go. Peter Shields had 6 to go.
Well, he went for glory. Rush of blood, no doubt. But again, the problem with Vainicolo, you've got to be asking yourself, how long can Brian Noble put up with this fella? He's becoming a liability. He knows his quality.
This is his quality.
When he's got the ball in his hands. But how far to the scales of justice can you go?
Well, I said Shields had the 6 to go, but to be fair, the referee wasn't wiping the tackle count down, but it looked it for me. Here come Bradford with Peacock.
He should have passed. He had a man on the right-hand side.
It was Richard Moore. This is Deacon. Now it's Price. And Price, well, he's attracted those two, and I think they've stopped him for the time being. Play the ball to Deacon. Here is Brian McDermott. Well, there's so much to talk about in this match in the opening half. Absolutely breathtaking, the pace on a really hot and sultry night. Robbie Paul takes the latest tackle. This is James Lowes. Moore's wanted it and got it.
Well, that's a move that he uses with the big fella Davidson.
Nearly came off for Richard Moore. This is Deacon. Deacon. Oh, interception. Away he goes. It's Sean Long. He's got the quickest man with him. Give it to Albert, they say. And Darren Albert will home in under the posts. Long with the interception, and unselfishly, he knew that Price was trying to close him down. He knew it was the quickest man in the business with him. And Darren Albert, he registers try number 15. St Helens defending on their own line. That's their hallmark. The next thing, they're up the other end.
Forcing the pass, they had to, but he read it ever so well. Forshaw was steaming onto the football, but it was plucked away by Long. And as Eddie has mentioned, play as a team. Give it to the man that's the fastest out there, and he'll do the job. He's had an outstanding first half, this fella. Not only in attack, but in defence. He's been around and doing everything. And there is a picture that says it all. You little beauty, as the Aussies would go.
Well, he's on his way down to the dressing room.
Well, it won't be long.
Fantastic try, and how unselfish of Sean Long. Long has not played much of this season. He has started the last 5, to be fair, but he's been out of course injured for a long, long time this year. He hasn't scored a try himself since March. But for the team effort, he just flicked that to Darren Albert and said, here, you take the glory, we'll have the 4. And Sculthorpe makes it 6. 22 points to 10. St Helens over Bradford. What a team player and what a finisher.
Well, the coach and the Bradford fans are somewhat stunned over that, because that fella knows that when Peacock made the break, he had more on the outside. I'm not saying he would have got to the line. And then the man who was absolutely outstanding in the opening 15 minutes, Paul Deacon, made a dart, offloaded what he thought was a pass to Forshaw, but he didn't come up with the idea of Long.
Well, Darren Albert and Darren Britt there, the two Darrens made a bit of a porridge of this. They thought it was out on the full. Paul Deacon knows every inch of this ground.
Well, is that a lifeline, Eddie, for the Bulls?
Well, it doesn't matter, does it, as it turns out. Right on the stroke of half-time, no time to restart the game. Darren Albert's try, unselfishly provided by Sean Long, converted by Sculthorpe, gives the Saints a 12-point buffer at half-time. Remember, Bradford Bulls have not been beaten on this ground in league football before. They trail at half-time by 22 points to 10. It was 8-0 the Bulls after 9 minutes. Then Saints clicked into gear. 4 tries. It's eye-catching, it's breathless, it's a great game. Prize at stake, and Saints have had designs on being league leaders going into the playoffs all year. I wonder what the next 40 minutes has in store. 22-10, the Saints lead.
Well, as Carl Harrison mentioned at half-time, a little bit of composure. That's what Brian Noble would have been saying to this Bulls outfit, but I think it's time now for Brian to make a few changes, and maybe Robbie Paul to be replaced and bring on Leon Price into the stand-off position. He's got to start thinking for more positive things. And how on earth he hasn't taken Vainicolo off is beyond belief, as far as I'm concerned.
That's the last tackle, this set of 6, and Bradford deep inside their own half. Deacon will kick then. And the winger had funneled back. Darren Albert collects it not far from his own try line. The chase is good. And Albert gets away from the first would-be tackler. And a good job that Gartner was there. And here now is Sean Hoppy for St Helens.
We just saw the big fella, the prop forward, Brian McDermott, go far too high. That's been a bit of a problem, especially late in that first half for the Bulls, in as much that they've been trying to prove to St Helens how tough they are than getting on with the job of actually stopping the man.
Brilliant pass from Darren Britt. This is Sean Long. Sean Long with the pace, and Long will get there. It does it. Vainicolo got to him. Has he held up Sean Long?
I think he has. Well, he may have conceded and given Saints an easy try in the first half. Has he got over there? Yes.
There's the try. Sean Long's first since March. It will be confirmed by tonight's video referee, I'm sure.
Well, it's got to be a tie. But what a pass from the prop forward Darren Britt. That's the main reason why Ian Millwood dug deep, paid out big dollars for the prop forward Britt.
David Campbell says it's a try, tonight's video referee. Sean Long gets his reward for that unselfish pass to Albert in the first half. It's his first since March. Long is back and Saints are back.
And it came from a man who was classified in Australia as the best offloader in the business. It was a good effort from Vainicolo. I thought perhaps he held him down. But as soon as he got to him, it's the first impact here. No doubt it gets the ball. He struggled from there on in. No way could get it down to make sure, but it didn't need to be.
Sculthorpe adds the extras. What a start to the second half for the Saints. They're 28-10 up.
Again, it was brought about by quick thinking, quick play the ball by the St. Helens side. And the big fella Brett running onto the pass, sucking into. And a beautiful delayed pass. This fella knew exactly who to follow. Ask any Australian down under about the qualities of the prop forward Darren Brett. And you hang back, you don't come too soon, give him the chance to offload, and that's what he's done.
They went for a short kick-off, and St Helens get the head and feed because it came off a Bradford arm. It came off Vainicolo. He tried to flick it back. He flicked it back all right, but it went out.
Well, the big problem is when you do that, you've come off the wing and you put it into a place where there's going to be nobody there. Good effort by him, but more pressure to be absorbed.
Gleeson for St Helens. Gilmore is out there. Gilmore again with the tackle.
The St Helens are a side that, when they've got a tails out like this, they know how to control and apply the pressure.
Well, they get going on adrenaline, don't they?
Well, not only that, but it's no fluke. They play safety first and make sure that it's a good kick into the in-goal area, so they can have 2, maybe 3 sets of 6 tackles.
Shields plays the ball to Cunningham. Off goes Cunningham. Cunningham's having a great game tonight. What a pass out the back door. Is Gleeson in for another here? Just held up short.
Big problem for Bradford. They're down at 12. I think it's more that's receiving treatment.
That's a great ball to Shields. Oh, wonderful tackle by Price. And that's a knock-on by Joint, was it? Yes. It's the turnover.
Well, that was a try saver by Price. He had to take the gamble, and it looked as though Saints were going to get a wobbly again that went their way. Did on that occasion, but not after that. But again, we see the running from dummy half from Kieran Cunningham. Surely the Bradford first and second markers realise they've got to be a bit smarter. They've got to get there quicker.
Richard Moore is back on his feet and fit again. We're halfway through this set of 6. We'll get the half-time news from Bill in a moment. This is Forshaw skipping out of the tackles. Couldn't get away from that one, though, from Darren Britt. Here goes James Lowes. He's been quiet tonight in comparison to Cunningham. And that's the last. He plays the ball, and it's now with Deacon. And Deacon gives it wide to Robbie Paul. And Robbie Paul's running it on the last. He's lost it, though. And Tommy Martin picks up. And this now is Peter Shields. Bradford are all over the place.
Good thinking there by Shields. Realised that Bradford's defence was within the ranks of his own players. Possession is vital. Just flopped to the ground, did everything right.
Chris joins the dummy half, gives it to Sculthorpe. Here is Wellens. Deacon stands firm. Cunningham. Here's Darren Britt driving it in again. Long is hunting another offload. Didn't come that time. Cunningham. Here is Peter Shields.
Surely that was forward.
Referee in touch just said no. This is the last. Cunningham! Cunningham! Second try for Cunningham! St Helens are going to win this. Barring an absolute disaster, St Helens are going to win this. And Ian Millwood will add to his tally of grounds on which he's won. Cunningham has split them open.
Well, it was going all over the place, and then they came up with a mistake. Robbie Paul was about to kick. Maybe Joint did get a hand to it, but it looked a forward pass before that. The official said it was okay, but this man has just undone them yet again. I mentioned the fact that Bradford was slow in the first and second marker position, and it was shown up there in all its glory. And talking of glory, this man surely has put this game into the St. Helens camp. That says it all.
First time in Super League this year that Kieran Cunningham has come up with 2 tries in a match. Brian Noble, the picture said it all. Head on hands. Saints have beaten the Bulls in major finals at Wembley, at Old Trafford, and also at Twickenham in the summer era. The big question tonight, could they overcome the hoodoo in the city of Bradford? And that kick from Paul Sculthorpe gives them the perfect chance. 34-10. What on earth was said in the dressing rooms at half-time? Bill.
Eddie, Brian Noble was that picture simply because he asked his side to tighten up round the rucks where Saints have been killing them, and not to force the issue when they were in possession. And already within 7 minutes of the restart, the Bradford Bulls have done just that. And Saints have punished them for it, and that is exactly why Brian Noble looks so angry. But could there yet be an opportunity for the Bulls to get back?
Well, there's a long, long way to go. 24 points the gap. This is their opportunity here. Long with an important tackle there on Gardner. Lows at dummy half, gives it width to Deacon. He then finds Robbie Paul. On then to Price, but Tommy Martin was waiting for him, and Newlove finished him off. It was a shallow kick-off again. Saints got to it. They flicked it forward, or flicked it backwards rather, and the Bradford Bulls got this possession. It's the last tackle though, and here is Deacon, and wide it goes to Forshaw. Forshaw flicks. Saints have got it back. I don't think they're going to be denied tonight, Steve-O.
No, I think it looks that way. Bradford trying to force a pass now, trying to chase this 34 points. Not easy. The way that the St. Helens side, especially in defensive vein, they'll take it nice and steady, safety first up to here. But again, it's got to be a point where Brian Noble has to start gambling. He's got to come up with something exactly, completely out of the box, in as much that he's got to say to Price, go in, look for the football.
Cunningham's away again. He's got Tommy Martin here. Well, I don't know what Ian Millwood said at half-time. It's irrelevant now, because whatever it was, it's worked wonders. Long, Sean Long, that is quite magnificent. That is an absolutely breathtaking try, if it's given. He just wants to check the grounding.
But again, they have been caught with a quick play the ball, Bradford. They are on their last legs. We know it's warm out there. They tried everything to stop him, but I think he gets this down.
Has he lost it?
No, he may have lost it.
Lost this.
There's just a bit of daylight there. That'll be no try. Good move by Robert Connolly, but it deserved one, didn't it? Again, this man, Kieran Cunningham, make the break.
I think Long will be denied here.
Yeah, I think they all know it.
It is no try. Well, he looks to the sky. He knows that would have been curtains for the Bulls, but there was no doubt. No doubt when you see this, the ball comes away.
Yeah, just loses it.
But irresistible. Absolutely scintillating stuff from Saints.
Well, I picked out the 2 hookers. I said the one that got on control and took over the game, and what a game Kieran Cunningham has had.
And if David Waite is watching this, and I'm sure he is, what a boost for him in the Kiwi Series later this year, that Long and Cunningham are both back to full fitness and are playing with panache.
Well, a couple of times we've seen Long go through and really stride out, and this will do his confidence all the good in the world.
Well, Ian Millwood apparently said to his men, take it to another level in the second half. It was on the roof in the first 40. They have taken it up a story here. Flick back to Robbie Paul. Oh, was he taken out there without the ball by Joint? I think he was.
Oh, they've got away with it. Robbie's not complaining too much. Right. They get it back, that's all right. Oh, maybe he committed himself pretty hard. 50-51 on that, but well, The luck is certainly going the Saints' way, but to be fair, Eddie, the harder you work, the luckier you become.
Double change by Brian Noble. Big men are back, Vangenaar and Fielden. Long goes for a 40-20 now. Well watched on that far side by Michael Withers.
Not many opportunities for the fullback to chime in. It's been a real stop-start affair by Bradford, but the thing that will be disappointing Brian Noble more than anything, Eddie, is the fact that their defence in and around the rucks, he knew it was a problem in the first half, they have not rectified it.
He looks pretty stern, doesn't he? This is Vainikolo.
I think he looks mad, he's furious, never mind stern.
Vangenaar. A big day for Bradford Bulls, being almost given the key to the door back to Odsal. They hope to have the celebration party, but St Helens have turned up and they've been poopers. Fielden with that run, last tackle, 6 metres away, Lowe's to the in-goal area, fumbled by Long, but he got it away eventually. Another dropout coming up here.
Well, every ball that's bounced around here, there and everywhere, it has gone their way. Nice option from the hooker, James Lowe's. He knows his opposite has completely played him off the park. But Long, as you say, Eddie, he's back to his best. Oh, it's a knock-on. It's getting worse.
Vangenaar shakes his head and says no.
Well, there's a little fumble. Did it hit the ground? That's what we've got to see. Yep.
Well, what on earth is he shaking his head for about that?
And what on earth is he trying to, with no one around him, trying to pick up the ball on the half volley, when you've got two lovely feet, a boot, and you just stop it, then pick it up.
38-0 now, leads over Hull. 10 minutes into the second half. London are ahead of Wigan. 10 minutes into the second half there as well. Well, what a night this is turning into.
Outstanding display though by St Helens. He's a master, isn't he? Ian Noble. There's been a few of those. He really knows how to turn it on, doesn't he?
Well, he targets games, I'm sure he does. Mind you, having said that, before tonight there's great defence from Bradford. Before tonight, you know, they've gone 2 matches without conceding a try.
Look at that, they're 34-10 in front, and they're trying to keep this ball alive. Normally, Eddie, you'd be getting the message out and saying, let's play it cool, keep it down, but this St Helens side don't want to play that way.
This is St Helens, Stephen.
Yep.
This isn't an ordinary team. And that's not an ordinary coach.
And it wouldn't surprise me at 34-10, within the last 5 minutes, you know, people like Kieran Cunningham go out onto the wing.
Leon Price has gone without it. Sculthorpe has swooped. It's not going Bradford's way. Bennett just on.
But look how keen they are to get on with it. Lowe's could have been penalised.
And this is Cunningham again.
He's looking for the hat-trick.
He is. Sculthorpe. Bennett on the bounce. Another one that goes to ground, but again it's a blue shirt that comes up with it in Stankovic. Vangenaar and Fielden eventually haul him down.
That's the confidence that seeps through this side.
Well, Fielden could have been done there. That's a good tackle. Oh!
Knock on.
Yes, it was. Oh. And I think that Sean Long, if he backchats the referee like that, he might give away a penalty.
Well, I'm surprised that Robert Connolly has copped this abuse. Was knocked out, no doubt about it. Fielden certainly got a hand to it, but that's no excuse for Mr. Long to throw a few words of wisdom. Oh, look at that. They're into their faces.
They are. It's the pressure from Martin then on Withers that produced that error. These are forced errors.
Yep. And you know, Eddie, there's quite a few people, myself included, is that, you know, if Bradford don't get that roll on, show their strength. If plan A doesn't work, do they have a plan B? They did last season, obviously, because they were the champions. But they perhaps need to change a few things. They've got to look a bit deeper.
Here's Barry Ward now. Oh, he's away from them. They're falling off the tackles, Bradford, alarmingly. Long. flick back, it's play on. Stankovic might have scored. It's another decision for Chris Campbell. Where did it go when it came off the chest? Did it hit the Bradford player? Stankovic is celebrating a try.
Well, again, is that classified as a knock-on? No, as far as I'm concerned. Peter Shields lost control. This will be another try, and it will add to the drubbing. Here it is. He's in front of it, and he knocks it back. He's allowed to go for it. Shields did well. Bradford stood around waiting for the referee. Stankovic says, thank you very much indeed. But see how they defend from Bradford. They take one step and then hesitate. And this is the reason. And he's had a big game, this fella. He's showing his will to David Waite here. This will be TRY, no doubt in my mind whatsoever. It's a drubbing.
David Campbell agrees. Tries given. Ian Millwood, Brian Noble, two totally different sets of emotions. But Ian Millwood has coached a side here in St Helens who have come to Bradford and taken them on in their own backyard and hammered them.
Martin applied the pressure and the fullback couldn't take it. It has not been a good display from this Bradford outfit. They've lost their shape, they've lost their defensive patterns. But let's take nothing away from this Saints outfit. They have come here with a mission. Mission completed.
Well, Stankovic's try and Sculthorpe attempting to convert. And we are watching the biggest beating of Bradford Bulls at home in the Super League era at the moment. And there's 2 more points. 40 points to 10. What a night. What a night.
And what a great game from this fella, but it was poor defence, Eddie. They're taking full advantage of it. And I'm sure that Brian Noble will certainly not... Oh, that's a knock-on. I'm sure that Brian Noble won't look at this game and think that perhaps luck was against him. Missing tackles has got nothing to do with luck at all. And that should be play on. And I thought that was a knock-on, but Forshaw thought he never got a fingertip to it. Either way, it's going to be Saints feet and head and feet.
Well, their heaviest home defeat in Super League, August, strangely enough, 1997, 33-18 at Odsal against Wigan. St Helens have rubbed that out of the record books. Phil, it has been and continues to be a breathtaking St Helens display.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get worse for the Bradford Bulls. They've been pushed into a hole, and now St Helens are just shoveling the dirt on top of them. You know, it's pretty rare that you get 17 guys in a team all to play to the full potential on one particular day, but Saints seem to have done that today. The confidence within the side, you just see they all want the ball, they all know what they're doing, and really they're up for this now. For Bradford, well, it's just a case of hanging on. This is a sensational display, and all Bradford can hope is maybe this is the loss they needed before they restarted the challenge again this year.
Yes, we're 6 away from the playoffs. The referee says play on! Cunningham's in!
He can't do that. The touch judge was on the field of play.
Well,
how on earth can he give this? The touch judge was 20 metres onto the field of play. If he gives this, they will go bananas.
He's given it. It's a hat-trick for Keane. No, he hasn't.
He can't do that.
He was about to.
The touch judge is out there, and if the touch judge enters the field of play, the play has to stop.
Well, there was pushing and shoving around the play of the ball involving Ward and Lowe's. That's what the touch judge was coming on for. Here it is here now.
Well, he had to go at it, and then Ward push,
shove.
And then he comes on, and he walks on. Now the referee has seen him. Oh, come on, ref, you can't do that. Well, if this is given...
Well, he said play on, and he also pointed at the spot for the try.
Yeah,
this is going to be given.
Well, what are they going to do about the rules? So therefore, if a touch judge walks on, the play had stopped. The play had stopped.
Referee didn't blow the whistle, he said play on. He's penalised Darren Britt from all accounts. Well, I don't think it was Darren Britt who was involved in that, it was Barry Wall.
It certainly was, but they could not have given that try. You can't change the rules straight away.
It's Barry Ward and Jimmy Lowe's pushing and shoving.
Yeah, now the referee walks him, and that's it. Cunningham says, well, referee's going to stop this, and then he went on to score. Well, that was farcical.
Well, he was shouting play on, the referee, and he didn't blow the whistle, and he almost pointed to the spot. As it is, David Campbell came to his rescue, I suppose. Martin has nicked it off with us. One-on-one, Tommy Martin.
And he'll play that ball with a big grin all over his face. He may not have the speed, but I tell you what, Eddie, he's got the guile, hasn't he? And this is the reason. Come here, thank you very much indeed. They're starting to enjoy it out there now. They're wanting the football.
Here's the 40-20 attempt by Martin, he's got it.
No, it was on the full.
Oh.
I think it hit the whitewash.
Well, he can't go to the video referee to decide whether it was on the whitewash or not, just where he kicked it from. The referee's in the wrong place where he's putting the scrum down. I'm not so sure. Well, you couldn't tell on that.
I'm afraid not. You could on that.
Yes.
Right on the whitewash. Great camera work too.
Well, Ian Millwood has asked if he can speak to the fourth official. So he, I think, will be asking the question about the Cunningham try. He wants a word at the end of this match.
Oh, he wants to twist the knife, doesn't he?
Oh, well, hey, points difference, Steve-O.
That's what I'm saying, he wants
Remember
to
the
twist it.
72-2 against Warrington not long ago?
Yeah.
He knows that points difference could be important, and so does Fielden. Fielden gets Bradford supporters on their feet at last.
Strong run as well. He's worked hard. He's certainly put in on this Bradford outfit against all the odds. Went very high indeed. Sculthorpe and Stankovic won't want to watch that a few times. Far too high. Stankovic wanted to give him one in the mush, and Fielden comes up with a 4. Well, is it too late? We've seen it so many times from the Saints.
Well, that's true, we have, but there has been nothing to suggest so far tonight. Although there's plenty of time looking at the clock.
My word.
I bet Brian Noble hasn't waved the white flag yet.
This fella hasn't.
Deacon. He adds 2 more. 40 points to 16. He's still not happy, that's for sure. But Fielden at least has given the Bulls a glimmer.
They just held off, went far too high. It's amazing, you know, when a big fella comes at you, the quickest way to get hurt or allow him to go through is when you try to go for his shoulders or his head. No one for the legs. Well, has he given them a lifeline?
Well, the gap is 4 converted tries. That's 24 points. The clock is going to be important, and they've got just shy of 18 minutes.
Well, didn't they score 4 against Leeds in the opening 18?
They did. Fielden. Fielden is in the mood.
All it needs is one of the St. Helens players just to lose the composure. Get sent to the sin bin, down to 12, it's all on. He never played that foreshore. Everything's happening out there.
And remember the comeback by Brian Noble's Yorkshire against Ian Millwood's Lancashire in the Origin Series. And remember the comeback that Bradford had at Halifax in 1997. One of the comebacks of the century, never mind the Super League.
What a great tackle from Martin. Super stuff there.
Dab over the top is by Deacon. This is Darren Albert. Doesn't he do well? Doesn't he do superbly well? Doesn't he do brilliantly well?
You're running out of them.
I was waiting for someone to tackle him. Vangenaar eventually did.
What an effort. He's had a super match as Darren Albert. Remember, he got his knees clattered in the opening 5 minutes when Bradford were applying all the pressure, and he hit the hoardings behind the sticks.
Cunningham from dummy half, denied the hat-trick by the video referee.
Get out of the way, that's 2, he offloads.
To Hoppy. And Hoppy is grounded. James Lowes is on the bench, and the report from the sideline is he's unhappy that he has been withdrawn. Penalty here for St Helens, offside.
Well, with respect, I don't know any hooker worth his salt that would be happy to be replaced. He knows he's been behind the 8 ball with Kieran Cunningham running so well from dummy half. Picture says it all. He's pretty sad about the whole affair, and to be fair, he knows that Saints have been absolutely on top form.
They have, and his opposite number, Kieran Cunningham,
outstanding.
Just caught the eye. Well, a penalty to St Helens at 40 points to 16, and they take the kick at goal.
Just calm things down, and why not? You know, they don't want to run the risk of perhaps Bradford getting into an arm wrestle, maybe someone just losing their composure, and maybe running the risk of being sent off. Calm it down. He knows it. He knows he's got the 2 points. That's the way to do it.
Quarter an hour remains. It's 4 converted tries. At the moment, this kick means that Bradford have to score 5 times. And he's kicked it. 42-16.
Just stop the momentum. No doubt.
And they get the ball back from the kickoff.
That's the best way.
All being well.
That's the best way to stop the momentum. He knows he's been outplayed.
And they do as well. The Bradford fans cannot. They're not used to this. They are not used to this.
He's rubbing his eyes.
That's not gone 10. That hasn't gone 10. That's a penalty on halfway to Saints.
And they won't rush this either. Not at 42-16.
Well, Carl Harrison will be taking a look at this with just a touch of irony, because he believes that there was a shallow kick-off at Headingley recently that was similar to that. And his team, Salford, were denied the penalty on halfway. But he is convinced they would have kicked to win the match against Leeds. As it is, Ryan Sheridan went up the other end and dropped a goal and won the points for the Rhinos.
It's always a problem, Eddie, when it's not a televised game. Well, he'll be pleased, and rightly so. It has been an absolute wonderful effort from his charges.
And it's a penalty on halfway that Sculthorpe again fancies taking.
It's amazing how he seems to have the wood when it comes to the big game, and this was a big game.
This is the battle for top spot.
Yeah, Bradford knew that. But Ian Millward, I remember the Challenge Cup final, when Bradford threw everything, the opening 20, they absorbed it, Saints went on to win.
Oh, what a booming kick from Sculthorpe. 44-16, the reigning man of steel, and a front runner for the accolade in 2002.
No doubt about that. And isn't it great to see a wonderful athlete kick a goal like that? No hugging, no kissing, just get on with the game.
That's gone 10 metres this time. The ball is flicked on, it's play on, and here is Vainicolo. That's a good effort by Darren Albert.
Well,
this is Nathan McAvoy now.
Can Bradford pull something out of this? They've got to show their mettle now.
Robbie Paul, inside to Deacon. Van Genaar, back to Deacon. Oh, Withers did well.
Just came a little bit too soon there, did the full back.
Robbie Paul, Mike Forshaw, Leon Price, back to Vicona. Vicona will straighten it now, and a very important tackle there from Peter Shields. Robbie Paul went one way, gave it then to Peacock. Good defence again from St Helens. We've admired their attacking finesse tonight. Now they're muscling up in defence. Deacon stabs it through. Fielden! He'll have to check the onside, offside, I'm sure.
He just got it down in the end. We'll try number 2 in the second half for the big fella. Neat little kick through.
From up here, it looked like maybe Fielden was slightly ahead. But David Campbell has another decision to make.
Well, he's okay there. And I think he's okay there. You see the shadows.
Suspicious he was offside.
I think he's all right. I think they'll give this. I think Mr. Fielden will pick up his second try, and he deserves it. I mentioned before he's worked hard in a pack that has been totally outplayed. He squeezes it down enough, only just there. And that's what the video referee wants to see. He's obviously happy with the offside. That's a try. Well, something for the fans here to cheer.
Well, it'll be Fielden's second.
Well, surely he can see this. He's still got hold of it. And it hits the ground. Come on.
Well, he's not as convinced as you.
Well, his hand's not that big. Look, Albert did well, but his hand is not as big as the ball. That looks a try.
You aren't paid to make video referee decisions.
Well, if he gives this a no try, he shouldn't be either.
Bang. Someone's blown the fuse. The try is given.
Someone's pulled a plug out.
He got the nod in the earpiece. Fielden gets his second try. The screen went green at just the wrong minute. But he couldn't deny Fielden his try.
Well, a lot more adventure. Not surprisingly, you saw there the man Leon Price take the first pass out wide. I've been calling for Leon Price to go looking for the football a little bit more. And the first time he does, and gets himself first receiver outside, Fielden goes in for the try, converted by this man.
44 to Saints, half as many to Bradford. 2 tries to Stuart Fielden.
Good combination. What a great pass to Deacon. Chip through, quick thinking. And again, Albert tried his damnedest with his fullback Paul Wellens.
Well, irony of irony, Stuart Fielden got 2 tries in the 17-16 win against St Helens in the year 2000. He's got 2 tries tonight, but it's 44-22. 44 for Leeds and 10 to Hull. 10 minutes to go. And Wigan have hit the front against London.
What an effort there.
Robbie Paul, Deacon, Forshaw. Deacon takes over again. St Helens are swarming around them.
Would have been fired up with the fact that Fielden scored 2 tries in 5 minutes.
McAvoy.
And you can guarantee that Ian Mill would say, right, that's it, close shop. We don't want Bradford to score anymore.
This is Jamie Peacock. He stumbles away from one, but Barry Ward was there. Price, Deacon again on the last here. A little stab through. Well watched by Paul Wellens. 44-20.
Good position of play.
They look home and hosed, Phil Clark, are they?
I'd say so, Eddie, at this stage, really. I think the last 10 minutes will really just be a statistical issue, whether the points are scored from either side. There's no way this will be wrestled away from St Helens. And when you think back to the start of the game and how dominant Bradford were, I think 80% possession in that first 10 minutes really just shows you what mental toughness this Saints side had, really, to hang on in there. Goal line dropout after goal line dropout. Defensive work, really. There were asked so many questions by this Bradford side, bashed into the ground when they had the ball, and yet they hung in there tough. And boy, oh boy, didn't it come good for them.
Yes, it did. And they're still coming good. Steve-O, for me, the Darren Albert try, right on the stroke of half-time, was absolutely critical to this outcome.
It certainly was, and of course, Long followed up with that very early in the restart. And when you do that, it can just knock the stuffing out of your opposition, and it's certainly done that. Bradford have been losing their shape after the first 20 minutes. Their first and second markers have been slow. They've been on the back foot all the time, but St Helens, they've got into their faces, and they have created so many errors, forced errors on this Bradford side. Across the shoulder, it said, on Gartner.
Forshaw, risky. There's Darren Albert out there, and he claims it for Saints. But they have to force the issue. But it's an incredible turnaround from that opening 10 minutes when Bradford, we had the stat, 80% of the possession belonged to Bradford. St Helens couldn't get hold of the ball in the opening 10.
They absorbed it. And it's something that he does all the time, Ian Millwood. He doesn't panic. But most importantly, Eddie, you look at the fact that Cunningham has made 8 clean breaks.
Here's Darren Britt. He offloaded for the long try, couldn't get the ball away then.
Cunningham wants his hat-trick.
Yes, he does, but he gives it instead to Sculthorpe. Now he's on the hunt, and it goes wide, and the kick down the line from Albert, and he holds up the hand rather in acknowledgement. I think Brian Noble has just got to take this one on the chin.
Well, he can't take it any other place, and let's hope that his players realise that as well, that they've been completely outplayed. St Helens have dominated, as we have said, apart from that opening stanza with Deacon controlling things. But I've got to raise that yet again, Eddie. What a lot of people think is that Bradford, do they have a plan B if plan A doesn't work?
Well, Brian Noble is safe in the knowledge that Bradford will stay top of the table tonight, only on points difference. But the gap is closed purely and simply 2 points difference. Interestingly enough, St Helens have never topped the charts other than 1996, when Sean McRae guided them to the inaugural Super League crown. In the first past the post era, in the grand final era, they've never finished top. But they've won a couple of big nights at Old Trafford, haven't they? And it would be brave money to bet against them again this year.
Well, they've got a sniff of it.
In this form, anyway.
Certainly have. The confidence that they've gone through. And to be fair, both Saints and Bradford, they went through a bit of a dicky patch for a while.
Well, the test calls for St Helens, particularly the origin calls. Leeds have hit 52 past Hull, who only replied with 10. Victory for them. They're still playing at Wigan. It's tight. This is Long. Here's Wellens. Now New Love. Vicona gets him. 6 to go here. Martin off the outside of the boot. He wants it. Good job that Gilmore was there.
Oh, he's a little teaser, isn't he? Oh, on the outside. Gilmore knew that he was coming towards him. One of the quickest thinkers in rugby league. That is no doubt.
If they make it to Old Trafford this year, you know, they will trace this back, not only to a wonderful night here at Valley Parade for Ian Millwood and co, but to that game against Warrington, when they won 72-2. They looked a bit dicky, didn't they, in the 2 games prior to that? They'd lost against Wigan, and they rebuilt the confidence. And boy, it's flowed tonight like vintage wine.
Yeah, if you scored 70 points, Eddie, what do you expect? And it certainly showed tonight.
But did you notice then on that night, Ian Millwood didn't take anybody off, he just let them play. And he's let them play tonight.
And I think Warrington let them play that night as well, to be fair.
Fair point.
He'll be happy.
Higham now.
This is where you need it to bring out the guts, to dig deep. But their play the ball has been superb. They've wanted to do it. They're hungry for it. Look at that. Gleeson wants to get on with it.
This is Cunningham. Stabbed the ball in goal off the ground from Robbie Paul to Vainicolo, and Darren Albert's had a big game in attack and defence tonight. Withers. Wrestled to the ground by Higham. Jamie Peacock. New Love missed him. Support is there from McAvoy. Wellens missed him, but look at them scramble back in defence. You'd think they were just 2 points ahead.
The problem is there were 5 St Helens got back and not one Bradford player could support. They're just out on their feet.
This is Forshaw. Price in a dummy half this time. Left they go with Deacon. There's the stab. And there's the defensive quality of Albert again.
He's had plenty to do.
And he's answered every critic tonight in abundance.
Has he ever? He's had a fine match. Neat chip through. It's all about positioning, and he has been superb tonight. And full credit to him. A lot of people thought that all he had was speed. No guile, no defensive pattern, but I can assure you, as Eddie has mentioned, he's certainly shut a few people up.
Oh, look at the drop kick from Tommy Martin. Look at the drop kick from Tommy Martin. Banganar's back on his own try line.
He probably picked that up and said, oh, not me. Oh!
That was forward.
Oh, it looked it.
Here's Gilmore. Great dropout from that man. Peacock over the halfway line. Wigan have got the rub over London, 19-12. That's interesting. Wigan close on the top two. Intercept, oh, long. So close.
We'll be back to another 6.
Yes, it is. Wipes the tackle count down.
You know, the nice thing that I think about it, especially from Great Britain's point of view, is not just the way that Sean Long has played tonight, but he's got that impish style about him again. He's hungry for it.
Yes, he is. It's been a wonderful all-round display from St Helens. Withers. They're just playing out time now.
And at certain times, Eddie, Bradford have come up some superb plays as well. It hasn't just been one way.
Great ball from foreshore to Deacon, but wonderful scrambling defence again. Robbie Paul showed it one way, went this way, off the knees, and here goes Long.
That just sums about the night for the Bulls. Trying to force a pass and...
Well, the one thing that we can say now is that Bradford Bulls will not go through the Super League season unbeaten on this ground. Albert's chasing it, he's never given it up. Albert has got the last word. Second try for Darren Albert, he just didn't give it up. And Robert Connolly answers with a point to the spot and a trill on the whistle. The Saints fans are chanting easy. And I'm afraid tonight it has looked very, very easy indeed. But they have been playing at the top of their form.
Beautiful kick. Surprised me that the official did not go to see whether the winger was in front. He must have been quite happy with that. But the chip over from Sculthorpe is the fastest in Super League, they say. But what a great effort. What a finish to this man. Whoa, the finger says it all. Shake it, baby. And boy, they've shaken the Bulls.
Well, the Bradford fans are heading for the exits. The St Helens fans are sitting here, standing here, and they will cheer their team from the field, because this has been one of the outstanding matches of the Super League era. Never mind this season, this has been one of the greatest displays that St Helens have put up, and they've put up a few.
Without any doubt, they have gone for the heart of the ball, and they've come up with a fillet steak. They have just cut them to ribbons. And I'm afraid at certain times the Bradford Bulls are going to be left with the offal on their face.
I think you've dredged them all out now. You were a butcher once, I suppose.
I've done a rib or two. Cracked, I might add.
Sculthorpe, just to add a bit of polish. Oh, what about that?
Unbelievable.
Half a century for St Helens. That's it. Bradford's agony is over. Brian Noble's agony is complete. And St Helens have won a famous victory. The home run ends at 28 consecutive home victories. Kieran Cunningham, Tommy Martin, Sean Long, all 17 out there. They engineered this win. Robbie Paul leaves the field disconsolate. They're the St Helens fans who have stayed to cheer their team to the end, and so they should. One of the great performances of the Super League era. Look at that. Bradford, previously unbeaten in Super League on this ground, 22. St Helens, the cool half-century. They've known some heady days during the summer era, but this has been exceptional. If you want to catch up